Well, I was raised on a sheep range, and I can't remember ever seeing any art on walls, except for one aunt who loved to decorate her house, and every year she changed the wallpaper. And the thing that I treasured most was getting those second-hand wallpaper books. And from those, I made paper dolls and used them in various ways because they were just so beautiful. I loved them. And I really think that's my introduction to art as I think back, because I certainly wasn't raised in that kind of an environment. I saw myself as an English instructor for 25 years at the college. But I had an art major as well because I just loved art. And I guess when I retired and went out and bought 3 kilns and lots of Japanese papers and all new paints, and then I had my husband's storage building down at the bottom of my lot, and that became a studio, and that's when I seriously became an artist. I still have a little difficulty, though, identifying myself as an artist. I stand outside it just a little bit. I use all kinds of materials in my art, and I'm not trying to say anything. I just love the materials, and I love the process. I'm one of those who enjoys the process more than I do the finished product. I came into my clay work rather accidentally. I was a friend of Dick Fairbanks, and when I was working on my MFA in painting and drawing, I passed him in the hallway and he said, "Why don't you come take my pottery class?" And I said, "Okay, I'll go sign up for it," because as a graduate student, I crammed in as many hours as I possibly could because I knew it wasn't going to last forever. And I got into an advanced pottery class. And I suppose I'd learned a lot from my other classes to transfer, but I hadn't learned how to use a wheel. And he passed out assignments. So I turned to the slab roller because I could do that without a lot of experience, and turned out the work that did fulfill the requirement. I turned to collage after a trip to the east, to Japan, with my son. And we went to art, supply companies. And here were all these beautiful, wonderful papers. So I bought a great big huge roll, and I brought them back home and looked at them for a few years, and then got up the courage and started tearing them and cutting them and making them into collages. I've always thought of myself as a scholar, and of course I'd been reading and looking at art books and doing behind the scenes work and just studying the process. So by the time I started doing it, it wasn't really new to me. I think I've used almost all the materials that are available to artists. But I think of myself again as an oil painter, and that was my major. My graduate major was in painting and drawing. And I've always liked oils because I started using them, and acrylics hadn't really been developed by then. So I learned to use the oils, and I like oils best. But I've used acrylics in many ways. And since I dye papers to use in my collages, I've used acrylic paint, watered down acrylic paint for dyes, which has been very effective. In giving advice to young people who say, "I'm majoring in art," I'm rather cynical. And what I say is, well, get another major or minor to go along with it, because there just aren't that many positions for artists if they want to teach. There isn't that much demand for their work, and I don't know very many artists, very few artists, who actually make a living from their art. So I think it's something we love to do, and that's why we do it. We don't do it for financial gain. In fact, most of the things I do, I'm probably not even coming out even financially. I'm always drawn to the thing that has been done most recently. I've always liked the latest art the best. And when I travel, I want to see all of the art, of course, but I'm always drawn. I want to be sure to see what's coming out of the studios now. I have a little difficulty relating to, say, Jeff Koons' balloon dogs, but I suppose it's a comment on our era that it is a plastic world, and that's what he's reflecting. So I appreciate that the artist has a lot to say. He has very much to say about the age in which he works and lives in. I think I could be classified as being very experimental because I certainly do experiment in the studio. And I've had some happy things happen, and then I've had some miserable things happen. So you lose a lot of materials and use a lot of them up that way, but sometimes you get a nice, happy surprise.